Hey, I'm Jim Terwilliger. I've been here at Meadowbrook. This is my 26th year teaching high school Bible classes and doing whatever else they asked me to do around here, and have an opportunity to be involved with students' lives in a wide variety of ways. Our theme this year is keeping the focus. And how does that look on a daily basis? It really is divided in 2 points. Part of it is keeping the focus on what we teach and why we teach it. And our focus is really developing that biblical worldview. And it doesn't just happen in my Bible classes, as important as it is, but all of our classes keep that focus on the Christian worldview. Whether you're teaching math or science or history and English, the focus is still on Christ and on the Christian worldview. And what does it really look like when you live it out in real life? And so modeling that by praying with students, coming alongside the students, building relationships with students is so important. That's why we have our mentor groups where we have middle school and high school students involved with teachers and staff. It's why we take time just to be with them, whether it's playing games or various dimensions. It's just so important to live that out and backing up what we teach. One of the things that we get to do, that I get to do here, is be involved with the mission trip every year. We take a mission trip with our junior class. And again, it's a way for our students to see and experience how God is working around the world and in some different places. We had an opportunity to go to one of the largest hospitals in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, and our goal there was to minister to the homeless. But while we were doing that, Pastor Elvis, the pastor we connected with in Puerto Rico, he had us holding up signs that talked about, in Spanish, you know, Jesus loves you, give your heart to Jesus, Jesus is there for you. And so a television producer, I guess, happened to drive by. He was visiting his daughter in the hospital, and he saw these and took note of that. And then he called up his boss, I guess, at the television news station, and they decided to come out and do a special on us. And so we had an opportunity to kind of multiply our impact by doing a special newscast. Pastor Elvis was interviewed, the kids were all pictured with all holding their signs. And one of the things on mission trips is always being flexible and recognizing that schedule might change. And while it might be changing for us, it might not be worked out the way we thought it would be. It's exactly what God wanted all along. Christian, our Praying Pelican representative, was there. He said, one of the things he said, if you look at some of Jesus' greatest miracles, he didn't plan to do those miracles. He was on his way to do something else, and someone stopped him and asked him to do something. And he used that as a parallel for our mission trip, that some of the coolest things that happened on the mission trip, and I think some of the ways God worked the greatest on the mission trip, wasn't part of our original plan, but God had a bigger plan than we had. And that was one of the cool things about this newscast, about how God used that in the lives of this producer and his family. But who knows how many people saw this in Puerto Rico. But probably more important than anything that I teach as far as content-wise, as important as it is living it out. And I think in that regard, like what every teacher does here at Meadowbrook is important, because if we're not living out, consistently living out that Meadowbrook Christian School worldview, that Christian worldview before our students, it undermines everything that we do. They're just not things we do for the sake of doing them. The focus is on Christ and that worldview and establishing how this looks like when it's lived out on a daily basis.